Starting us off at number 10 is Ashton Kutcher. A lot of people have trashed his name online, calling him obnoxious, and also didn't like his performance on 2.5 Men when he replaced Charlie Sheen's character. A lot of people will say that they cannot stand him. There was a time when his wife, Mila Kunis, agreed with these people and said that she could not stand his attitude. She talked about it with glamour and said, "At the height of his career, I was like, ugh, I don't like you. I don't even know you anymore. You think you're hot." But she admits he has changed in a lot of ways and people don't give him credit for it. He actually runs a non-profit company dedicated to fighting child sexual slavery through technology and is a great father to his kids. In my opinion, it seems like he's matured, so maybe people can ease up a little bit. Just a thought. In spot number 9 is Gwyneth Paltrow. Honestly, I've always been a little bit confused as to why she gets so much hate. People started hating on her when she was promoting women to steam their private parts and then making candles that apparently smell like hers. A little weird. Fully don't understand what happened there. In 2013, a magazine actually titled her the most hated celebrity. She talked about that during an interview and said she was completely surprised by it. She told BBC, "First of all, I was like, I'm the most hated celebrity, more than Chris Brown? What did I do?" And honestly guys, she makes a good point. How she is receiving more hate than someone who openly admitted to beating up his girlfriend, I don't get and I don't agree with. I'm just saying it doesn't really quite add up. Maybe she's not everyone's cup of tea, but she didn't do anything horribly wrong or intentionally bad. You know? Swiping the number 8 spot is Angelina Jolie. People started hating on her when reports made claims back in the day that she was hooking up with Brad Pitt while he was still married to Jennifer Aniston. She actually received more hate than he did, even though he was the married one. I don't get it. But that was when she was in her early 20s, so it's weird that people still rip on her for that. There's also a few more reasons that she receives hate. Some people just say they can't stand her or they don't like her as an actress. But she does a lot of good with her platform. She does a lot of charity work with the United Nations, and they stated that she is very involved compared to the other celebrity PR tours. A UN external relations officer said, "Most celebrities stop at 110 and hold a baby. That's precisely not what these trips are with Angelina. It's just refugees and her in this intimate space. There is no place for anything Hollywood or celebrity." I think we don't give her enough credit for that because she does do a lot of those trips, guys. I'm not even kidding. I looked into it. It's pretty impressive. Sliding to number 7 is Kristen Stewart. The amount of memes and TikToks made about her is enough to prove that she's one of the most hated people on this list. People are constantly making fun of her acting skills, saying that she only has one facial expression. This opinion could be enough to hate her, but people are also pissed because she was caught cheating on her ex-boyfriend Robert Pattinson with one of her former film directors who was married with kids at the time. Now, I do think she deserved that reaction, for that whole scandal. That was wrong. But even before that, people were hating on her, making fun of her in a bunch of ways all over the internet. She has apologized for her mistake and has opened up about her sexuality as a bisexual woman. She has tried to make a difference in the LGBTQ community and promotes acceptance and love despite being hated by 80% of movie lovers. She is trying. Cruising to number 6 is Jaden Smith. The 22-year-old receives a lot of hate, and sometimes I think people forget that he's only 22 and still has a lot of growing to do, maturity wise. He is Will Smith's son, but still gets ridiculed online for being annoying, weird, and pretentious. Those are other people's words, not mine. He has done some questionable things though, like the time he showed up to Kim Kardashian's wedding dressed as Batman because he thought and said that he needed to protect everyone there. People always criticize his wardrobe and style, and maybe you don't agree with his choices, but some people do find it to be refreshing. He boldly tries to redefine masculinity stereotypes by showing up on the red carpet in a dress. Plus, he started an eco-friendly water bottle company and donated water to residents in Flint, Michigan. So I do think he's trying. He's also young and he's trying to figure out, who he is. I was up to no good at 22. We are halfway through and we have Amy Schumer. People fell in love with her the first time we got really introduced to her on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She quickly rose to fame as a comedian and actress, but as her career continued, it seemed like more and more people just started turning against her. She is one of the highest paid female comedians, but people started attacking her for her comedy routine, saying that she is not funny and that she is too raunchy and inappropriate. I think comedy is different for everyone, and depending on your sense of humor, one thing is funny to someone and it's not funny to someone else. But one thing I don't think she gets enough credit for is how she is normalizing her body. She often shares that her body doesn't meet the typical Hollywood standards and encourages women to love who they are and be proud of their imperfections, like cellulite, stretch marks, the changes of pregnancy, everything. Honestly, I think that would be so hard to do with the pressures of beauty as a celebrity especially. Like, I give her props for that. Moving on to number 4 is Taylor Swift. For as long as I have known about Taylor Swift, I have known that 90% of people I know don't like her. And I don't really get why. My mom loves her, but I have a lot of people in my life who don't like her music and find her songs really irritating because a lot of them are about breakups. I actually like Taylor Swift and I think she is super talented. But she is one of those pop stars who face a lot of judgment and heat for every move she makes. From the outside looking in, it feels like she can honestly just never do anything right. Someone will always have something to say and it is always negative. But she does a lot of good for people. She has done numerous visits to children's hospitals, tons of donations to charities, donating to GoFundMe campaigns to pay for fans' hospital bills. It's easy to look at someone for things that they don't do rather than the things that they do. In the 3rd spot is Anne Hathaway. She too was dubbed the most hated celebrity at one point in 2013, but does anyone actually know what she did for people to hate her? Everything I found online seems a little bit petty, like, oh, she tries too hard, or her Oscars acceptance speech was so annoying. Like, I can understand if people don't like her in some of her movies because, like, we all have our own opinions on what makes a good performance, but overall, I don't really get why she's disliked so much. For the most part in Hollywood, she really keeps to herself and her personal life is more private than a lot of other celebrities in Hollywood, so I don't fully get this one. Someone explain why people hate Anne Hathaway. Coming into number 2 is Lady Gaga. She is a talented singer who has a very successful music career as well as an acting career after she took home an Oscar for her movie A Star Is Born. But despite having millions of fans and success, there are a lot of people who dislike her and they show it online. Large groups of haters try to tear her down for her body, her music, her voice, and her acting skills, despite the Oscar award. Apparently she's always dealt with hate even in her personal life. It was revealed that her university friends created a Facebook group when she was just starting out and they called it Stephanie Germanata, You'll Never Be Famous. They ripped on her daily in that group as she tried to pursue her music career. Joke's on them, just saying. But Gaga has a very big heart and she shows that with how she treats her fans, how she helps the LGBTQ community, how she promotes self-love and acceptance, and all of her charity work with the homeless youth. Honestly guys, her charitable work list could go on and on. I was looking into it. There are a lot of things to name. She does a lot of good work for people. In our number 1 spot is Justin Bieber. I feel like I'm going to land myself on a hate list after this because a lot of people hate him and having him on this list might not please people. I think we can all be on the same page that we haven't always agreed with some of his behavior. And some people would say they don't like his music and they don't think he deserves the fame that he has. But in recent years his attitude seems to have changed drastically and he moved out of Hollywood to start fresh. He moved to Ontario, Canada with his wife Hailey to get away from that LA lifestyle. He has gotten more involved in his faith and has been open about his struggles with anxiety and depression. He now spends a lot of his time trying to help others who go through the same thing, and honestly I think that these changes are worth noting. Even if they seem small, he's trying. I genuinely think he's trying to be a better person.
At number 10, Janet Jackson. The Super Bowl halftime show is one of the biggest televised events of each year in North America. Millions upon millions of people tune in annually to watch the year's biggest and probably most expensive performance, so for the people putting on the show there's a lot on the line and the stakes are quite high for whoever is on stage that year. Normally these performances go pretty well, though there are always memes of those off moments like Left Shark for example. But during the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show, viewers watched a serious wardrobe malfunction happen that was life-changing and career-altering to say the least, and it was more serious than just a meme. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were performing together on stage that night when a move went wrong and Janet's breast ended up getting exposed. Following the televised incident that the media dubbed Nipplegate, the FCC sued CBS for the live mishap and a $550,000 lawsuit, citing indecent exposure as their cause. Janet Jackson was also put through the ringer for her part in the whole scandal, even though none of it was really her fault. It was just an accident that obviously wasn't meant to happen. It was discovered that the whole incident happened because the two performers had added a costume reveal into their performance at the last minute, and though it was rehearsed, the stunt failed at the last minute, resulting in Janet's exposure. As a result of the backlash that Janet was receiving, she was uninvited to the Grammy Awards that year, and her songs were also blacklisted from the radio. Even the next few albums that she released following the incident were met with a lot of negativity because of this scandal. It was all just an accident that caused a huge scandal and ended in someone getting cancelled and facing so much hate for absolutely no reason. At number 9, Megan Fox. Even though Megan Fox is getting back into Hollywood after having been essentially blacklisted for the past few years, we can't forget how all of the negativity she received happened and how unnecessary it all was. After having a significant role in the Transformers films, actress Megan Fox was fired from her role and she faced a lot of backlash. When she was fired from Transformers, the film's director Michael Bay said that the decision to let her go came after she was, quote, a nightmare to work with. This comment came after Megan allegedly made a comment about how strict Michael was on set, and when fellow director Steven Spielberg caught wind of what she said, he advised Bay to fire her, and that is exactly what happened. This reputation of supposedly being difficult to work with followed Megan for a while as people started to see her in a negative light, though none of that was actually true. No one wanted to hire her because of the negativity that was cast on her, and as if that pressure wasn't enough, not too long ago, Megan also spoke out about how for a long time people saw her as nothing but a sexual object in Hollywood and not the skilled actress that she really is. She also continued to get hate because she advocates for feminism, and people don't like that for some reason. And she continues to get hate for speaking out against sexism in the film industry. She's been facing so much negativity that she really just doesn't deserve. Now, before I carry on with the list, I would like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also do consider checking out my gaming channel Viper Girl if you're interested in watching some fun gaming content. I've got new things brewing over there, so go check it out and subscribe while you're there. At number 8, Rebecca Black. Back in the day, Rebecca Black's song Friday was the biggest talking point among all middle schoolers. Everyone around that time was singing that song when it came out and getting it stuck in all of our parents' heads. Rebecca essentially became famous overnight, but there's part of her that wished that never happened because she faced a lot of negativity. Rebecca was absolutely overrun with hate comments for months, all for creating a silly song and music video that people genuinely dubbed the worst video in the world. The fact that she was invited on Good Morning America and the news anchors really asked a then 13-year-old Rebecca whether the negative response to her music had made her think about taking her own life should really show you how bad things were at the time. I mean, those comments are so unnecessary and toxic. Rebecca has continued to make music ever since her Friday song and music video dropped, and she's kept a steady career, but she hasn't yet grown out of Friday's shadow, which means that the hate is still there and it really shouldn't be. At number 7, Lizzo. Lizzo is one of my favorite people in Hollywood because of how confident and unapologetic she is. She lives her life how she wants, and I love it, but some people apparently don't love it and they send her a lot of unnecessary hate. Lizzo has faced hate because of her weight, with people making comments about her appearance. Jillian Michaels famously commented on Lizzo's weight, and though some saw it as constructive, others didn't, which resulted in Jillian facing backlash. On top of that, there have been a lot of people commenting on the food that Lizzo eats. She's posted about her plant-based diet and has posted a handful of recipes for her followers, and she actually faced a lot of hate for that too. There are also multiple Reddit posts that discuss why people dislike Lizzo and her music. Lizzo promotes body positivity, inclusivity, and she again just advocates for living your best life, and so she doesn't deserve to be hated on for wanting to live a genuine and fulfilling life for herself. So all of you haters, move along. At number 6, Winona Ryder. For a long time, actress Winona Ryder faced a lot of hate after she sort of hit rock bottom in the media after her shoplifting scandal back in 2001. Winona was caught stealing a lot of merchandise from a Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills, and this scandal essentially ended her career for quite a long time, and she kind of got canceled for it. The actress was arrested after stealing $5,500 worth of merchandise and was charged with grand theft and vandalism and was found guilty of her crimes. She was forced to pay a fine of about $2,700 and had to complete 480 hours of community service. After that, she was ridiculed by the media, and she also lost a lot of work because of the negative press that she was getting. Yes, she did something illegal, but she learned from her mistakes and she completed her community service and grew from the experience. Instead of berating her, people should have just shown her kindness because this was clearly a really hard time for her and she really didn't deserve the hate. At number 5, Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick started a movement to raise voices and awareness, but it ended with him facing so much negativity and backlash. The former 49ers quarterback caused a huge scandal when he took a knee during the national anthem. He did this because he, quote, refused to support a country that he believes oppresses black people and other minorities, end quote. His actions ended up causing a massive stir in the sporting community, mostly in the NFL, and as a result of Colin refusing to stand for the anthem, every NFL franchise colluded to keep him out of the league. He was essentially canceled for believing in something that is a real-world issue and needs to be addressed, but instead of inciting change, Colin ended up getting blacklisted from the NFL. The only thing that he received in return for his actions was a settlement from the league and a prompt social cancellation. During an interview with the NFL media, Colin defended his actions, saying, quote, I'm not going to stand to show my pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave and getting away with hurting others. This is not something that I'm going to run by anybody. I'm not looking for approval. I have to stand up for people that are oppressed. End quote. He didn't deserve to be shown so much hate and be silenced for making a statement about a real-world issue. At number 4, Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn Spears faced a lot of hate during the time that was already difficult enough as it is. Back in 2008, the former Nickelodeon actress was dealing with the news of her pregnancy being exposed, but she was also dealing with being canceled in the media and by fans. At the time of her pregnancy, news came out about the beloved Nickelodeon show Zoey 101 being canceled. Now, there was no direct explanation as to why the show was canceled, but because this news and the news about Jamie's pregnancy came around the same time, fans put 2 and 2 together and hopped on the negativity express. As a result, fans berated the actress for years, and they even mocked her kid as the reason why the show ended. She didn't deserve the hate back then, and it's only now starting to subside since the reason for the show's end was finally clarified in an interview Jamie did with Nylon magazine last year. Jamie revealed that the show had actually finished filming months before she even got pregnant, saying, quote, I didn't become pregnant until probably 6 months after we wrapped or something like that, but because some of the episodes had not aired yet. The show had already wrapped and there was never a negotiation to go into any more seasons. We were too old. It was done, end quote. Fans just jumped to conclusions and sent her so much hate that was so unwarranted. At number 3, Johnny Depp. Now, I doubt this needs any more explanation because we all know what's happened with Johnny Depp, and we are all aware that he does not deserve the hate that he's been receiving over the past few years. For a long time, people hated this guy because of all the allegations against him for allegedly hurting his ex-wife, but now we know the truth about what was really going on during his relationship with Amber Heard, and we know that he did not warrant any of the hate that he was given. He had been blacklisted from Hollywood for years, his fans left him, and he was essentially shunned from the world because he was made to look like a villain. He had lost respect from a lot of people until recently, after the truth was finally revealed, showing that he was just a victim and no one believed him. It's honestly heartbreaking to know that he went through all of this pain and hate with no one taking his side, and knowing this, it really solidifies the fact that he did not deserve the hate that he received. At number 2, Meghan Markle. Now, I know that I'm going to get absolutely roasted for this, but Meghan Markle is my idol. She's a strong biracial woman who has overcome so much and who stands up for what she believes in. I think that she carries a lot of good traits and a lot of people can look up to that, but there are still some people out there who really despise her. I think that these people are probably a little intimidated or a little ignorant, but hey, what do I know? Over the past few years, Meghan has faced so much negativity in the media. From marrying Prince Harry and joining the royal family, to the way she was compared to her sister-in-law Kate Middleton, to her and Harry's decision to leave the royal family, and most notably her vocalization of her struggles with her mental health. She's just a woman who's trying to live her life authentically and who's not afraid to speak up and advocate for others who might not have the ability to do that themselves. I honestly feel like she's taking the brunt of all of this hate that she gets for merely just existing in order to shield other women from the same kind of hate, because she just seems like the type of person who would go out of her way to put herself in the spotlight to protect everyone else. I appreciate Meghan even if no one else does, and she certainly does not deserve the hate that she gets. And finally, at number 1, Britney Spears. Britney Spears is the number 1 person on this list who not only didn't deserve the hate that she received, but also deserves an apology from everyone. Between 2007 and 2008, Britney Spears was essentially canceled because she was going through a really hard time in her life and no one took her mental health or well-being seriously. She was labeled as crazy and was put under conservatorship so that her life was basically controlled for the last several years. Recently, we've heard from Britney herself how hard things have been under her conservatorship, and between that and the Framing Britney documentary, the world got to really see what life was like for her and how the media destroyed her life and public image. Everything about her, from her body to her voice and even her parenting, was scrutinized and made fun of, and she didn't deserve that at all. Knowing all that she's been through and how it has affected her life so much, I think it is a no-brainer to say that she really, truly did not deserve all of that negativity. So many people have switched gears from hating on the singer to wanting to free her from her conservatorship, so maybe things are going to be a little more positive going forward because no one deserves that kind of hate that she was receiving.